California organization supposedly working to clean up our elections, California Clean Money Campaign ain't so clean. Or at least that's my take after engaging in exhausting research on their site and of their bills. Research that's made intentionally user unfriendly. There is so much to report along these lines, I can't get it all in one video. You're welcome to spend the hours I have researching and come to your own conclusions. Their Secure the Vote bill, previously known as the Open Source Paper Ballot Voting Systems Bill, will not take effect until the 2022 election. So all you folks working hard for its passage and donating money to these shysters are getting the wool pulled over your eyes. Their urgent emails insinuate this bill will affect our upcoming 2020 election. It will not. Also, California already has paper ballots with electronic scanning. Yes, it would be better if that electronic scanning were open source and more public, but it would be best to do away with all software and machinery in the voting process, as it's all corruptible and hackable. The most honest way to conduct elections is with hand-counted paper ballots. That's what they do in Canada, and there is no reason we can't do it here by 2020. It means more involvement by we the people in the counting of votes, manning of polls, and oversight, but we are a huge enough group to pull that off. Bernie supporters alone could pull it off, but it's best if we join with people supporting all candidates. Going door to door gives us a chance to enroll all voters in making sure we the people elect the officials we the people actually elect. All people want their vote to be properly counted, and this gets universal support from the masses. We do not need support or permission from the 1%. Our evolutions do not ask permission, even peaceful ones. A fair, honest 2020 U.S. election will be our evolutionary. That's why my life is in real and present danger. There are activists who tell me there is no way this can be done in time. Like Bernie says, folks, it is time to think big, and the plan is on my website and YouTube channel. In the 70s, before cell phones, before social media, before the friggin' internet, a constitutional amendment was passed giving 18-year-olds the right to vote in 3 months and 8 days. So, as long as people get off social media, join the ground forces, and start knocking on doors, we can do it. And we have to do it. It is the only way Bernie Sanders gets elected president of these United States. And God help us all if it's anyone else. So for your sake, my sake, and the sake of the entire world, join me in demanding hand-counted paper ballots in the 2020 election. How? Well, since there's a bill already introduced in California, we could start by petitioning Trent Lang and Clean Money and all the backers of this bill for amendments to the bill advocating for hand-counted paper ballots starting in 2020, not 2022. We also have people in other states petitioning their people for the same. I'm starting an Our Revolution chapter especially for this purpose, hoping to join other chapters created for this purpose all over this country and world. The current undesirable California bill is up for a vote next week. Depending on what happens, we petition for amendments or a whole new bill. I'll put a link to a sample petition with this video. Think clean money will back our plan? Well, let's take a look at their website and the bills they have and are backing. I've only had time to scan the bill advocating for net neutrality, but it appears to be what it says. Thanks, Trent. That's how these guys got me on their email list, the petition for net neutrality, maybe you as well. Their election stuff? Not so grand. There's an LA Times editorial on the Clean Money site that talks about how the money recently allocated to help grassroots candidates in the LA City Council election actually does the opposite and helps incumbents. Quote, according to an analysis by the California Clean Money Campaign, the new rules would have denied matching dollars to numerous candidates who qualified for funding in the last 3 municipal elections. And the candidates who did qualify would have done so much later in the election cycle, some as little as 2 weeks before Election Day, when the additional funds are less helpful, unquote. Now, this could mean Trent and Clean Money want fair elections and are condemning the new LA City Council funding rules as it appears. Or it could mean Trent, working with a mainstream media outlet, is giving city councils all over our country the blueprint for looking like they're financing grassroots candidates while actually financing incumbents. All in an article posted permanently on the Clean Money website, whose mission it is to take their BS voting systems nationwide. Now, SB 249, the much applauded Disclose Act backed by Clean Money, reads worrisome and shows latitude for corruption. Of course, it depends on which version of this bill, which has been around in different versions for 7 years, you read or read. On their website, there's a place where they A and B what funders for propositions would read like with the rules in AB 700. AB 700? Well, that's an earlier version of SB 249, but it is not SB 249, or the current law, which is SB 249 with an AB 2155 amendment. Confused? The whole thing is intentionally set up to confuse and mislead. The current law includes AB 2155, a recent amendment to address the fact that SB 249 was already being abused and not used as supposedly intended. Trent Lang says in a letter to the governor, quote, a committee asked the FPPC, the Fair Political Practices Commission, if they could exclude listing a 501c3 nonprofit organization as one of its top 3 contributors of independent expenditure ads they were planning in regards to candidates, because 501c3s aren't legally allowed to spend money on candidate campaigns. AB 2155 clarifies this by saying that if an advertisement paid for by a committee supports or opposes a candidate, it shall not disclose a 501c3 on ads as one of its top contributors, nor any other person who prohibited their funds in writing to support or oppose candidates, as long as the committee does not use such contributions to support or oppose candidates, unquote. Now, who's checking up on these committees to see how their budgets are allocated? And more importantly, this says a top contributor can finance an entire committee, including salaries and operating expenses, and be one of its top 3 funders, which we would expect to see listed by the provisions of this Disclose Act as it's been sold to us on any political ads put out by said committee. However, this amendment allows big money funders to avoid being listed as long as 1, they're a nonprofit who isn't legally allowed to contribute to campaigns, or 2, they're any old person who wrote the committee a letter saying, "Now don't you use my money for campaigning." Then, even though the committee is taking in big money from these funders, and these funders could be their top 3 funders, the committee only has to list the funders whose money the committee earmarks for use on political advertisements. Wow! Now that is quite the bait and switch. And there's other sections of concern in the bill that's become law as well. If you go to the Clean Money website, you'll see a ton of offshoots to this Disclose Act that take the same rules and apply them to social media, petitions, ads, and ballots. So if it's BS, it's being spread far and wide. Clean Money also backed the bill for modifying election audits, which passed into law and which will, in Trent Lang's words to the governor, quote, "in the vast majority of cases, require the manual review of far fewer ballots than California's current 1% manual tally." Seems a little less desirable to have less manual review of our vote than our previous 1%. I also don't understand why Clean Money solicits funds to have volunteers make calls. The people calling are working for free as volunteers. They need money so that they can call supporters and ask them to donate. This reminds me of when Trust Vote tried to get me to ask people to contribute for their bogus citizen exit polls. Exit polls Trust Vote still hasn't released from the 2016 California Democratic primary. Whether or not clean money is dirty is less the problem here than the fact there is absolutely nothing being done to secure our 2020 election. We need to organize and fix that now. Learn how by following this video back to my YouTube channel, which also links to my website. You say you want our evolution, this is how.